You want to start by tracing with a paper pattern onto cardboard and then cutting it out. I'm using scissors here. You can use a box cutter if your cardboard is really thick. Then you can use that piece of cardboard to trace around as your pattern. It's a little easier than the piece of paper. And you want to cut out several layers stacked together. They should be at least about an inch thick. And then you want to hot glue them together. I'm using a Surebonder hot glue. It is my favorite. It has a very nice hold, and I'm using it throughout the whole project. You want to glue them in layers, but work in sections because the glue dries quickly. And when you're tracing out your pattern, you don't have the cardboard isn't quite a big enough piece, you can still use it and piece it together, as you can see where I'm trimming off the excess as I go. And that's perfectly fine because it's going to be inside the form. And don't worry about the bending of the layers because it'll still be strong at the end because there's so many together. And then take another piece of cardboard. This is a thinner kind that's like a soda box, sort of cardstock, and glue around the side to close in the edges. The next thing you want to do is just start gluing the moss on. And you want to pull it off in little chunks and just work in sections because we're using the hot glue and it does dry quickly. And be careful not to burn your hand. You can use a tool to press it down if you need to. You need to use a good amount of glue, but not so much that it's going to push through the moss and show. And you'll kind of find what works as it sticks as you go. You want to cover the entire cross on the front and the sides and leave the back without moss. The next step is to take some thread, and I'm using a green and a brown thread because I use the end of a spool. Those two colors work the best when you're wrapping moss. And you want to take the thread and just go around and around and tightly wrap. And this helps secure the moss on, and it also gives it a tighter, cleaner look. And go around several times, make sure you get the ends and you go over the entire project. And then on the end, just put a little dab of glue on the back to secure the thread before you trim it off. After you're done with the thread, you're going to cover the back. I'm using a piece of burlap here. You could use fabric, whatever you have that's spare. I like the burlap because it's neutral and it also gives a softness. So when the project is finished and you want to hang it, it's not going to scratch any surface. I'm also making a hanger with a piece of jute twine and just using another little square of burlap to reinforce where that is. After that, you want to trim off any little excess hairs of moss that might be sticking out. These are some preserved dried flowers, and they're two separate things. One was a bouquet of baby's breath in the natural color, and then the other was from a collection of preserved flowers. And I'm just taking them and arranging them to find a pattern that I would like to add to the front. And you can try different things like going all the way down the side from the front. You can try it all the way around in a circle shape, however you find it to be aesthetically pleasing. And just pinch the flowers together and kind of flip them upside down so you have basic layout of what you wanted. And then just start by hot gluing them on using a good amount of hot glue because you really want them to be secure and stay in place. And just work your way in layers because the glue dries quickly. After you glue your flowers in place, you want to let the glue set up for just a minute and then glue a beautiful bow in the center. And I'm using a natural colored one made of jute. This style of ribbon you can find in your floral department at your craft store. And I just made the ends look nice. And that's it. You're all finished. And I hung mine on the wall in my tobacco basket. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.